In today's video, I want to share a book with you that has some really cute vintage holiday projects in it. Hi, I'm Kim Jamison Hurst from Chatterbox Quilts, and today we're taking a look at Christmas at Buttermilk Basin by Stacy West. Now, Stacy has different books out, and they're always full of really wonderful vintage projects and ornaments, and Stacy likes to work with wool. Now, when you're looking at this book, while she is working with wool, you could substitute fabric for it, you could substitute felt for it maybe, so keep that in mind. But she always uses the felt. She doesn't just use plain color felt, she'll use ones that are plaids or have different designs on them. That creates a little more interest in the projects. And her projects usually have some added embellishments in them, such as hand embroidery stitches, maybe some little buttons. So if you're like me and you have all kinds of buttons, these are perfect projects to use up some of those. So let's take a look at what is in Christmas at Buttermilk Basin. So as I mentioned, there are not just ornaments in here, but there are projects as well. And the first one I thought was really cute was Frosty's Tree Farm. So one of the nice things about her projects is, first off, they're not huge. So, you know, when you're working with wool, if you're buying hand-dyed wool, it can be a little pricey. So the fact that you're working with smaller projects means that it's not going to be as expensive as if you were making a full-size quilt out of it, for example. Plus, that would be pretty heavy, wouldn't it? Okay, so let's look at Frosty's Tree Farm. So you've got these different trees here. So I did mention that she uses wools that have different patterns in them. So you can see here kind of a little check pattern. Some of them are solid. This has got a little bit of texture in it. And you can see the snow here again has that check in it. So it just adds a little more interest to the project rather than just having it all a solid color. So you can see some of the hand embroidery details. Not a lot. There's some on the trees as well. And some of these ones here, like you can see the blanket stitch on the outside of the tree, you could certainly do those on your sewing machine too if you have a blanket stitch on your sewing machine, or you might want to use some other decorative stitch too. So that's always an option. And then those little buttons, which are really cute, of course. So I really like this little one. This is 18 3/4 by 11 3/4. So again, not a very big size, but a nice little mini quilt to have up during the holiday season. And I don't know, there's something about VW bugs that is just too cute for words, right? So here we have the little vintage VW, and it's called Vintage VW Full of Cheer, bringing home the Christmas tree and the presents. This makes a really nice pillow. While she does have the felt, or I should say wool, not felt, you could use felt, wool in the background for the pillow cover, you could certainly substitute regular, you know, quilting, 100% quilting cotton for that too, and it'll work just as well. So very cute. And this is only 11 inches by 9 inches, so it's not very big at all. Okay, so just more like a little decorative accent, I guess. It's not like a pillow you'd put on your couch, just a very small little pillow, okay? And I loved this project here, Vintage Noel. So many things about this are really cool, I thought. First off, the use of the black background is really effective, very dramatic, with the cream color wool over top that spells out Noel, except for the wreath here, which is a really nice touch, right? Again, you can see that you've got these blanket stitches, so you could do it on your sewing machine. A few other hand embroidery details there, but nothing very difficult, and it wouldn't take very long to do these. Again, those little tiny buttons really look sweet in this project. So I really like this one. Again, not too big, 18.5 by 8.5. One of the things I wanted to mention as I'm going through this book, I just want to stop for a second and mention to you, if you've been following my videos, you may have noticed something new in the area below the video, and that is a heart with a $sign in it. So I just wanted to explain what that is. That's a way to say thank you. If you enjoy watching my videos and you found them helpful, it's a way that you can donate as little as $2 to help me continue to produce these free videos for you. And if you do so, I would really, truly appreciate it. So when you see that little heart with a $sign below, that's what that is all about. Another thing I liked in the book was this Frosty Frolic Vintage Sack. Now there are kind of two projects here. One is the little wool that you see here, the snowman and the Christmas tree, and there's that same motif done in hand embroidery for a picture. So they're pretty much the same, I think they're exactly the same actually, yes, design, but two different ways of doing it. Now I've got to admit the sack idea was not really thrilling for me, but I did like this idea, and you could certainly do that with the applique instead. So anytime I'm looking at books, I like to see projects where maybe I won't make it exactly the way it is because I like to change things up, but having the options of doing them in different ways, you can certainly do that with the projects in this book, whether you wanted to translate them into applique or whether you want to translate them into hand embroidery. That would work with most of the projects you see in this book. But what I really liked about this project, or either one, if you want to look at both of them, is the vintage look of that snowman, that kind of puffy look for the snowman, I just thought was really, really cute. And again, not very big. This one's 5 inches by 12 inches, so very small little picture to make. Here's another one with the Christmas tree on top of, this time a pickup truck, a red pickup truck, bringing home the trees. Again, another iconic image, right? And you can see again, we've used different kinds of wool, different patterns in those wools, and that black background. So in this case, it looks like nighttime, right? Really sweet. I like the little details of the stars. You could even use little star buttons if you wanted to for those rather than little hand embroidery stitches. But just another sweet small project in this book. And then, of course, I did mention ornaments, and you haven't seen those yet. So these are these penny rug ornaments, the little round ornaments. These are only 4.5 inches in size. So again, very small, little amounts of wool, and not much hand embroidery that needs to be done. Quick to really whip up. These are really cute to give as gifts. You've got the Santa and you've got the reindeer. Now, reindeer has a little black nose here. You could certainly make it red, and it would be Rudolph, right? So again, very sweet. And not much time to make. I'm going to repeat that over and over again because anytime you're making these small projects, they really don't take that long to make. Here's another example where you've got Santa here in the hand embroidery, and here she's using the wool for it. Your choice, whichever one you like, but I like the option, I should say, of doing it in either the hand embroidery or the wool. And again, if you wanted to substitute fabric for that, that would certainly work very well too. Getting back to some more ornaments here, we've got these 3 ornaments here. These are the trio vintage ornaments. I'm looking at these and I just have to go back to see, yes, these are 4 inches square. So you've got the little snowman with a tree with a candy cane. You've got the little basket with the candy cane, all very cute. Now, these are 3 separate ornaments, but I look at these and go, you know, this would be really cute if you had the 3 of them going down, you know, like in a vertical orientation to make a nice wall hanging, right? That would be nice as well. See, always got to think, what else can I do with these? Some of the, oops, there we go. Some of the templates are in the patterns and some of the templates are in the back of the book. So when she has the templates, as I mentioned, they're full size. I always love it when they're full size. I hate it when you have to enlarge them, okay? Just going to put that out there, all right? So when you are doing these, because these are really fusible web applique, if it's an applique one, not hand embroidery, you know that you need to have a little bit of an underlap or overlap, whichever way you want to look at it, for the different applique pieces, because you don't want them to just butt up against each other. You may see raw edges in that case. So when she has these templates, you can see here's the top of the tree, here's the next one. You can see these little dotted lines here, okay? So when I go to trace that out onto the fusible web, I'm actually going to trace it along that dotted line and the solid line. Same with the next one down. So you can see all these underlaps in this case that she has included in the patterns. I really like that. Some designers will have the pieces all separately. That's great too, but this works just as well. As long as you have those underlaps in place so that when you trace it on the fusible web, you know that you're going to get enough fabric that it's going to be actually underneath the other piece and you're not going to have any raw edges showing. So I really like that. She also has all the details here of the hand embroidery, and she has a legend at the side that tells you what stitches they are. As I mentioned, they're very simple hand embroidery details and very simple hand embroidery stitches, so not difficult to do at all. By the way, if you're looking for hand embroidery stitches and how to do them, I have several videos on basic ones in my YouTube channel. I'll put a link up above to the playlist there and down below in the description too, so you can find those easily. Now, at the back of the book, she always has in her book some information about how to do wool applique and the embroidery too, okay? So she's showing you some of these textures that I had mentioned before, right? That gives some added interest to the pattern. She talks about the different kinds of wool you can use because you can use hand-dyed wool, as I mentioned. You could also repurpose clothing, and I like to do that. As long as it's 100% wool, you can do that. Or you can dye it yourself if you wanted to, be that bold to do that. But in any case, she's talking about different types of wool, even how to felt wool, so you can use them in the projects. She also talks about the different supplies you're going to need, so the fusible web you're going to need, the type of needles, marking tools, that type of thing, and the thread she uses for the hand embroidery. So you have all that detail there. She explains her process of using the fusible web on the wool applique, how to do that, and then she also gives you the instructions for how to do those embroidery stitches, so just basic instructions on how to do them. And as I mentioned, you could certainly do those on your, some of them, using the stitches on your sewing machine, decorative stitches. So that would also work very well if you're not into the hand embroidery stitch technique. So if you're looking for some really cute vintage ideas projects for Christmas or the season, and maybe ornaments as well, take a look at Christmas at Buttermilk Basin by Stacy West. I'll put a link in the description below so you can have a chance to look at your own copy if you would like to buy one. Thanks for watching today. Please give this video a thumbs up and be sure to share it with your quilting friends. And remember to subscribe and hit the bell so you'll be notified the next time I release a new video. And before you go, check out these other videos I've included just for you. For more helpful quilting information, be sure to go to my website at www.chatterboxquilts.com.